Everyone, it's Ben Wise from ZOAR Fitness, and today I'm going to be going over our third and final athlete in creating a training template for them and using that to actually program some of their workouts. So this avatar is our most complicated, and that's why I'm saying it for the last one. If you haven't watched the first two videos, check them out because it's super relevant and actually sort of teaches you the process of getting to this stage. So that being said, let's dive into this first one. This avatar, James, age 33, he's been training functionally, or he's in CrossFit for a really long time, and he's basically been competing the entire time he's in it. So he has a really long training history and competing history as well. So he's pretty refined on some of those areas. Some of the things that he needs to work on, however, is working on maximal strength. So snatch, clean jerk maxes aren't what they need to be. So if you want to compete at that high of a level, you need to have the neurological efficiency and just the drive to be able to do that. He's a shorter person, so rowing and wall balls, like things like 19.1 tend to get him. And then he's pretty good at gymnastics, being a smaller athlete, so he can just hit more so maintenance volumes of those things. So he has all the skills that he needs. It's more so that high level strength in the erg based conditioning. And that being said, we're just maintaining the gymnastics, maintaining the bodyweight movements like double unders and burpees and stuff like that. As a smaller athlete, he doesn't need a ton of that development. It's more so just maintenance of that. The other things, though, that are relevant to this is that this guy's a higher level athlete. So one of the goals here is to actually win some local comps and get some cash prizes as a nice supplemental income, maybe a few $1,000s a year, maybe based on competing maybe quarterly, like every 2 to 3 months. Is going to get him some little bit extra income. The goal is to have him place in the top 200 in the open. So at that sort of a level, you're going to see him up next to a lot of the household names that you start to know, or that are either up and coming, or people that are starting to tailor off the other direction. And as an older athlete, is kind of kind of trying to peak at his highest level here, because he only has maybe a few more years left in the open division before he actually becomes a masters. The other goal is to qualify for some sanctioned events. One of the benefits there is, again, just having more exposure and just being able to be part of an event like that, super cool. But also, just more opportunities for sponsorships and cash prizes and things like that. So he has a lot more time to dedicate to training his other responsibilities, but he can get into the gym 12 sessions per week. He works at the gym, so that's a little bit easier. And then Wednesday and Friday are lighter days on his schedule, so it makes it a little bit easier to be able to, just get a little bit less on those days. And then the weekend, where a lot of people take off, is the time he actually has off, so he wants to train during those times. So Wednesday and Friday are his recovery and rest days. So let's build those in first. You'll see we're working with a bi-weekly template, just like the last one. Wednesday will be the recovery day. And then we're going to put that on both of those days. And then Friday will be the rest day, complete rest. Perfect. So then the next priority, I always start with the things that are always the highest priority, because you want to get the most touches of those in this 2-week period. Yeah. So let's think about it. Like the weightlifting and the leg strength is the biggest thing that we're trying to develop here. So we're going to snatch fairly often. I'll probably have him snatch Monday, Tuesday. I'll take off that Tuesday. I'll go Monday, Thursday, Saturday. Cool. And then that means we'll be clean jerking. Let's say this athlete has a fairly refined technique, but they still get a decent stimulus from actually doing the full lifts. So we're going to actually have them weightlift quite a bit. While someone just doesn't have the leg strength, they might not even weightlift that much, and they might just do a lot more squatting. And then, so on this day, they'll do a secondary clean and jerk. And on this day, they're going to be doing some back squatting. So let's have should have done this a little bit earlier, but on a lot of these days, we're going to have an AM and a PM session. So I'll fill those in now. Recovery Thursday, we'll probably just have them snatch and do some accessory, like snatch accessory work. So that could be things like snatch balances, overhead squats, even like crossover symmetry could fit in really well there. That's what I mean by snatch accessory. So we'll just leave it at that. So most of these AM sessions are actually going to be dedicated to the strength work itself, and then PM will be either more so conditioning based or accessory type things. So Friday's the rest day. Saturday is going to be snatch once again. I'll probably have them do some higher intensity stuff the day before the rest day. So this Thursday, I'll probably have them do some sport programming. So things like the name game in the protocol, what I program for ZOARfitness.com, stuff like that, right? Where it's tailored to sport. It's like an online qualifier style workout. So, and then once again on the second week, I'm going to have the exact same thing. So it's going to be sport again on that day. So, and then on the second week here, I'm probably going to flip flop it where we're going to clean and jerk as the primary, and then do some like a secondary type movement, which actually here I'm probably just going to put an overhead squat because they're getting quite a bit of frequency of the snatches. So I'd rather have that as the developmental piece. For now, I'm just going to continue to program the AMs. So this will be the full snatch plus secondary hinge. I'm going to leave it open-ended like that because that could be a snatch grip deadlift. It could be a bottom half only RDL. It could be a clean high pull. It could be a number of different things, but it could be a good morning even. But yeah, secondary hinge, we'll just leave it at that. And then Saturday, we'll have this be a clean and jerk and snatch. Often I snatch before clean and jerk, but it's nothing wrong with flip flopping them once in a while. This is not a weightlifting athlete; it's a CrossFit competitor, so this works. So that'd be, and then I'll probably have them do some, let's say secondary squat. So that could be, it probably won't be a front, back, or overhead squat. It would probably be something that's either like a Bulgarian split squat or a rear leg elevated RDL, or sorry, rear leg elevated split squat, or even like a series of wall balls at a heavier weight, like a 30 or 40-pound ball. Yeah, there's a number of different ways you could slice that. And then Sunday, I'd probably just have them do maybe like again. So yeah, they're going to clean and jerk again the next day. So maybe have them just do some like deadlifts and handstand push-up work. Or that could be a handstand walk. And that's fine that frequency might only be every other week or every, once a month even, but as long as they're getting some touches of handstand walking, they'll probably maintain quite a bit. So what other training priorities do we have? For now, let's just leave it at that. The rowing and wall balls is going to be the thing that is really driving the most. That's really the other big priority here besides the weightlifting. So rowing and wall balls, that's the next focus. The thing with wall balls is it's a lot more of a eccentric movement. So you're catching and, it's actually a squatting movement. So there's a lot more potential for soreness and DOMs there. Whereas the rowing, it's not really an eccentric component at all. So you're very unlikely to get sore from rowing, and you can build that volume a whole lot easier and have less of an issue from that. So I'd probably focus more on the rowing and focus on the wall ball technique and capacity and building up the cardiac output enough where occluding isn't as much of an issue for that person at those relatively lightly loaded squats, which is a wall ball. Anyway, so in the PM, I'll have rowing energy systems training. And that either like a series of things that I'll probably pull from. However, it would probably be, I'm just going to like make up something for this athlete, but let's say that they are someone who is respiratory limited. This might be a desaturation row. where they're doing like a higher effort, like shorter duration sprint, and then a short rest, and then repeating that. So it might be like 45 minutes of every 90 seconds they're doing a 20-second max effort row, or a 20-second row at their 5K time trial pace minus 2 to 3 seconds or something like that. Right? So a very, very high pace, something like that. So it's basically sprinting. Here we might do something that's a little bit easier. So maybe not like easy, but like less stressful. So this could be interval work of sport gymnastics and body weight. So this is like some of that maintenance stuff that we were talking about before. And I'll probably throw some accessory work on the end of this session here. And I'm going to keep that open-ended just like that. Snatch and snatch accessory work in the morning, followed by the sport program in the afternoon. And then, yeah, I mean, one of the things this is part of coaching is that you have to figure out like, wow, this person's, I'm going like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all right in a row. And then they have one day of recovery, one day of hard training again, and then right back to recovery. So it's not like a traditional split of a week, but this is the stuff that's realistic that actually happens sometimes. So that's why I chose to do it this way. So AM, we'll do snatch and clean jerk. Plus strict press. Or we could do strict handstand push-up, but I'll leave that open-ended once again, where some days we might be doing the strict press, other days we might be doing the strict handstand push-up. In the PM, we'll do barbell cycling and muscle ups. And again, muscle ups is general. It's not saying whether it's ring or bar, it's leaving it open-ended. So here I'm going to make this a power clean and push jerk, so that this one, we can make it more of a squatting pattern. Squatting clusters. And this is something that I would probably do much more. I'm not really taking the time to give all the variations of things I would be doing, but this is sort of the idea that I'll be thinking about hitting these sort of things. Squat clean clusters, and I'll probably just do some like midline accessory type work here. And then Sunday PM, we'll be hitting row and wall ball intervals. I'd probably create like a set progression for that, just because I know that is a limiter for that person, where they are moving week to week to week and is progressing in a very specific, certain kind of way. And realistically, I wouldn't get them to row at least one more time. So for example, they're rowing on Monday, they're rowing not again until, or potentially not again until Sunday. So I want to make sure they're doing some rowing before that. So the sport here, I'm going to say, is going to involve rowing. All right, so making sure that I actually get rowing in at least 3 days a week, and that should have a significant rowing component to it. And here I'm actually going to give them that row energy systems training again. And then on this one, I'm going to do gymnastics and wall ball. So those two, like, oftentimes people get, put themselves into a box of all of my limitations are only wall ball and rowing. And like, that's the workout that I did bad at. So that's what I have to do all the time. And that's not the case. Like, you just need to get better at those movements. And that's one scenario that you didn't do well with those movements. And so we need to figure out how to get better at those movements while they're combined, but also while they're combined with other things. So yeah, you can split them up sometimes, and that's perfectly fine. So, and here on the AM, I'm actually going to make this another conditioning based one because they're going into another rest day. So we'll have weightlifting battery work, and then they'll go into something that's realistically, I'd probably have it row energy systems training again, or even row mass versus respiratory limited. I'll probably just have it. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that because it'll probably, again, just probably driving intensity again and again. Rather, if this person's has a different limitation, they might be building volume on the rower. This person's probably driving a lot more intensity just because that's necessary for them. Saturday, their PM, we did all their strength work earlier in the day. Let's have it be something like this, though, where it was clean and then a secondary squat. And then in the PM, it's snatch plus a secondary hinge. And then they're getting the deadlift work, which is much more stressful, more likely to be sore or neurologically drained from that. And that would be the AM. And then the PM is going to be that row plus wall ball energy systems training again, or interval of some type. So there's your 2 weeks. That is a lot more than we started off with this GPP athlete way back here. You can see that is a very rudimentary version of what you're going to see for a very high level athlete. So it's the same sort of idea where you're just taking these different priorities, you're putting them in a week, you're organizing them, you're rearranging them as you need to, and then spitting it out ultimately into something that's going to allow you to actually create the program based on it. And the whole idea here is that it's an anchor. So every single time I can go to this, I can have as much freedom as I want in terms of programming snatch work and programming the secondary clean jerk, where it could be a power clean push press one week, where it could be, touch and go power cleans or squat cleans the next week. Like as long as it's fitting onto that template, I can be as creative and as varied as I want because I know I'm already touching on the things that I need to touch on. So if I actually program one specific day, I'm not going to program the entire week because that would take me quite a long time. If I take this, it would be like AM. They could do like, all right, they're doing the ZOAR snatch warm up, which takes them about 20 minutes. Then they're going to go into the actual snatch work. So snatch, we'll have them go 3 by 1.1.1 at 74%. 3 by 1.1 at 78%. And then 2 singles at 84%. All right. And then after that, that'll be going into the secondary clean jerk, which we could say is a hang power clean 6 by 6. As heavy as possible while maintaining touch and go. And then spin 2 minutes easy on the biker in between those sets, just to maintain cardiac output. And then, so that would be the morning. So then we could go like the PM session. And this could be like the row energy systems training. So it could be like just to warm up 1K row at a ramping pace where they start at maybe 5K time trial pace plus 12 to 15 seconds and build every 200 meters. Then after that, they could actually get into the raw energy systems training themselves. So could be, let's do it like this. This is actually a workout I did the other week. So I'm just going to pull from that rather than reinvent the wheel. It was row at 1K time trial pace plus 2 to 3 seconds. So very hard pace until heart rate reaches Z3. So for me, that'll be right around 155 beats per minute, somewhere in that range is where that cutoff's going to be. So once I get to that, I'm going to stop and rest for 1 minute. And then you're just going to repeat that for 30 minutes. So it's a sprint style workout where you get a short rest and then you're going right back at it and doing it again. And your heart rate's getting up, not to a max in this case. This is where I'm starting it. I might have it actually be Z4 by the another week or two, where it's very getting close to a max heart rate. It's a very stressful, yeah, bout, and that would be pretty much it. I might have them do some sort of a flush or cool down, and I'd actually write that out and probably have some ability stuff after that. But anyway, that would be a great example of what one day in their training could look like, and then I would continue to go through that. Again, so this is just the anchor, the idea, the priorities that I want to think about as I'm actually creating programming for a given week. And that way I'm staying consistent. And then once I actually get to a new training phase, so let's say they do 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, or not off, but easy, 3 weeks on, 1 week easy. Then I have them actually go to a new training phase. I would just redo this template. Like I don't have to like delete it and start over. However, I can take this and modify certain elements of it and start to blend it towards closer to competition, including more sport elements, more higher density gymnastics, things like that, and starting to maybe move more towards the battery elements with their weightlifting and more so of clusters and fatigued, like rowing into squat cleans, things like that. That's more blended instead of more segmented like this currently is. But this is a limiter phase. They're working on their weaknesses. So that works for this particular training week. So yeah, that is templates. I hope you guys found this helpful. Let me know if you got questions. Yeah, I'd be happy to answer them. Stay tuned.